Five, four, three, two, one.
Alright, hello, willkommen, bienvenue, konnichiwa. It's time for the Amish Inquisition yet again. Episode 161 on Sunday the 29th of November. I'm Amish Phil.
I'm Amish Ben.
I'm Amish Matt.
The dwarf, the cripple, and the mother of madness.
Oh, we've got a special guest on the line. We've got Dangerous Dan, the Millennial man.
Hiya Phil, how are you doing?
I'm alright, Dangerous Dan, the Millennial man. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you. Sorry for being a bit late.
It's alright.
It's fine.
You're our honoured guest.
Late.
We were just about to talk about the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight that none of us have seen.
Yeah, and you were going to give us a breakdown.
Yeah, blow by blow.
By round.
What was your scorecard look like?
I mean, from the illegal highlights that I watched this morning, because I didn't want to stay up till 1 a.m, Mike looked pretty good. He moved and he punched well, and the other guy held him for a lot of it.
Right.
And then my illegal download went off because it was copyrighted. So I don't know who won. Thank you.
I heard it described by Snoop Dogg, no less, as like a fight between two uncles at a barbecue.
Nice.
I felt like it looked more coordinated than that, but I mean, I was watching a guy watching the fight like it was video with a potato. So, you know, it was what it was.
Do we not know who won then?
I don't know who won.
They drew. It was an honourable draw. I think they were short rounds, weren't they, as well, or something? They're not shorter rounds?
I think they'd have
Probably. They weren't allowed to knock each other out, were they? But I don't know how you do that. Although I could definitely not knock someone out, so...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm capable of not knocking Mike Tyson out, yeah. He's 54, isn't he? And
I thought he was older than that. I thought 54. The guy was 51 and he was 58.
No, 54 and 51, I think.
He's in incredible shape, though.
Which one?
Both are in pretty good nick.
You still haven't elaborated.
From the 7 pixels that I had to go off, they looked in pretty good nick.
Were you watching that?
He was sort of an oblong shape then, in that 7 pixels.
Yeah. Jet Set Willie.
Better shape. He's in better shape than me in pixel form, so yeah.
What's it called?
Looked decent, yeah.
What's he called?
There was a lot of boxing on, wasn't
there? On The Simpsons. What's Mike Tyson called on The Simpsons? Anybody can throw that out there? There's a game of it. No? Oh well. Leave it there then.
What's the answer?
Don't know, I can't remember. That's why I was asking you.
This is great content, Jack.
Yeah.
Do another.
It's just because you mentioned the pixelated game. And they play a game on The Simpsons with him fighting and the fucking, what's he called, the promoter with the hair?
Don King.
Don King.
Yeah, I'm sure he's in it as well.
Mike Tyson's something.
No, he has a Simpsons name.
Yes.
Crusher McGrew or something, you know.
Yeah.
Like Rainier Wolfcastle.
Yeah. So, all right, I'll Google. I'll be Simpsons Mike Tyson.
Well, while Matt's Googling this... Oh, go on.
Dredrick Tatum.
Dredrick Tatum, yeah.
Yeah. He's heavily based on Mike Tyson. In case you didn't know.
Did he go into beef mode?
Yes, he did.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Dan, something I wanted to ask you about while you're here. Your favourite Canadian psychologist is back on the scene.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
New book
Out
coming
of
out.
rehab.
Yeah.
Is he?
That's given him a new edge, hasn't it? Coming out of rehab. He's just got more interesting. What did you want me to add to that?
Have you been following the story? Because I know you're hot for his daughter, aren't you?
Yeah. I just didn't understand how...
We're talking about Jordan Peterson here.
Oh.
Because we didn't mention that, I don't think.
Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
I didn't get how, as a psychiatrist, when he got prescribed that stuff, he wasn't more aware of how addictive it could be.
He's not a psychiatrist, Dan.
He
A
is.
pseudoscientist.
No, he's not. He's a clinical psychologist.
Is he?
Yeah, he's not a
I've
psychiatrist.
seen different titles all the time. I've definitely seen him referred to as a psychiatrist.
Yeah, well,
He's
they're
a
wrong.
pop author.
I just thought he'd be a little bit more clued up, but that makes a bit more sense now. But sounds minging though, doesn't it?
Well, what was the condition? Is it called analgesia or something?
What's that?
The condition he had where you're just completely restless, you cannot sleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
It's
Is
just-
that what
I don't know the science from it. I just know the anecdotes and my own opinion mixed in between it all. So I don't really know what he had, but it sounded horrible.
You know the book, The Man Who Mistake His Wife for a Hat?
Yeah.
It's like one of those types of conditions he had.
Oh, right, okay.
Like a really bad psychological, or I don't know what you call them.
Is it brought on through stress because of his wife, something like that?
That's what he said, wasn't it? That's what I read, that it was something to do with his wife having cancer and he started taking Xanax or whatever.
Why are you saying it like that, Matt?
Like what?
Like it might not be true.
Because it might not be true.
Don't tarnish the image. Man can do no wrong. Look at the daughter he's produced.
She's fucking nuts as well.
She's not. She has a food problem.
She has an autoimmune condition, doesn't she?
Same thing.
What's her daughter's condition? You know,
She has arthritis, doesn't she?
a lot of things that she ate used to react badly with her. That's the gist I got.
Juvenile
protein
arthritis.
thing. Not PKU, is it? Phenylketonuria. Where you, that's what you have your prick test for and your heel on your ball.
Excuse me?
Prick test.
You pass every time, Matt.
I don't know if it's that. I know that's a permanent dietary issue condition.
I think
thought it was
she went to
protein.
meat diet. Yeah, I thought she started eating beef, meat only, and then all her conditions subsided. But
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
that's what I heard.
she calls it the lion diet.
You might just own a farm, and she's got shares in loads of meat industries. You don't know.
Farms lions.
She has
Tiger King.
she has a diet plan, doesn't she? You can buy into.
It's called the lion diet. So
Follow
apparently,
the money.
yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting case, Jordan Peterson. It's got a new book coming out.
Is it?
Yeah, it's coming out in March, I think. He announced
Oh, is it the Bible stuff?
No, it's
Oh,
the
what is it?
sequel. The sequel, 12 More Rules for Life.
12 more? Oh, God,
Never
24.
do a sequel.
Beyond
Bible only had
Leave
10.
it.
Beyond Order is the
I
subheading.
mean, I will buy it, but
Beyond order.
Yeah.
What's beyond order?
Chaos. Chaos surrounds order.
Well, it's a balancing act, isn't it? That was his whole point in the first book. Too much of one way or the other is bad news. You've got to try and live in harmony between the order and the chaos.
Oh, so
One
rule
foot in
13
both.
is going to be throw all your clothes on the floor in your bedroom and don't bother tidying it, just for balance.
That's chaos, yeah.
Or is it going to be the opposite of his previous rules? Not verbatim. That'd be daft.
Did you read it, Ben, his first book?
Yeah. Well, I had it read to me.
By Jordan Peterson, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's all about the postmodern neo-Marxism, eh?
Not Elmer Fudd.
I like him. He gets a lot of flack, doesn't he? Did you hear what happened? Well, obviously not, Dan, because you didn't know that his book was being released, but he announced, it was a surprise announcement this week, that his book was coming out imminently, in a few months. And they had to have some meetings at Random House, the publishers, because some of their employees were freaking out and crying and upset.
No.
Hi.
He's not woke, is he?
Because he's a figurehead of white supremacy.
Oh, for God.
Oh, right.
Did you not know? Did you not know me and Dan are white supremacists?
I mean, I picked up on the vibe.
I think Phil was.
Yeah, they've had a bit of a hissy fit, but
Really?
they've had to have meetings. The publishers created a safe space where they can discuss their issues, and we're open to hearing everything. I mean, nothing's going to come of it because I think
millions.
I think he was one of the biggest selling authors in the world when that first book came out. So it's not like it's going to drop. You know the phrase "go woke, go broke."
Yeah. Money talks, doesn't it? Brings us all back to capitalism. Can't fight the system.
Have you not signed up to his plan, Dan? Doesn't he have a website where you can sign up and...
What's it called? The authoring...
Self-authoring.
That one, self-authoring. I looked at it, and then...
What is it?
It's... Go on, Phil. I might have to just quickly Google it. I mean, I'm not signed up to it. I seen a price, and I thought, no, heating first, and then I'll get that.
It sounds like sort of a guided self-help sort of thing, really, where you are authoring certain things about your life and what your plans are for the future, and sort of
that's what we do.
Yeah, goal setting,
developing a plan, and setting goals, and then
that's what we're supposed to do.
Isn't that Dianetics?
Well, all therapy is the same, really. It just has different frameworks.
Oh, it's $29.90. Got on cheap.
What?
Dollars?
One
How
off?
much you get?
My life for £30.
For how? Is that for a month or?
I mean, I don't want to click the advert, but
It's afraid of the cookies.
I think maybe a month. It'll change your life for a month. We'll say for £30. Change your month. I'm glad he's back anyway. Thanks for bringing that up, Phil.
I think we've missed him in the last 12 months or so.
I think he's going to have a lot to say about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Ooh, like what, Dan?
I knew you were going to say that.
What do you think? What subjects in particular do you think is going to be?
The handling of COVID.
Now he's had it, hasn't he?
And the difference between how people have been governed. I think that'd be interesting.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I'm sure he's had it. Yeah, he got it in his.
He got the Sputnik 5 vaccine while he was in the Soviet hospital.
Oh yeah, they've been injecting people for months, haven't they?
Yeah.
In Russia.
Any news on the vaccine performance in Russia?
110%, I heard. It's beaten only by the North Korean one.
Yeah, there's been no real talk of the Russian vaccine in our media, has there?
No, yeah, I wonder why.
Wonder why.
Probably.
Wonder who makes it. Does any big US pharma companies make it?
No.
No, that pay to the news companies? Pay for their adverts? No, maybe that's why we don't hear about it. Plus, they've been saying, Orange Man in bed with Russia for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
So, we've got to have to navigate that, won't they?
Mm.
Orange is half red, half yellow. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
I was trying to link it to Russia, but I went too far. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what Jordan has to say. What do you think he'll be saying about the way different countries have handled COVID? In other words, what do you think?
Oh, this fence is comfortable. What will he say? I don't know. He's a lot more eloquent than me. I'm trying to think of what his initial. Oh, I know what he'll do. He'll link it back to that Bill C-64 and how your government can't tell you what to say, and then probably go back to this quarantine and how it, breaks all constitutions and all sorts, and then very nicely tidy it up in a 10-minute YouTube video that I'll digest and talk about and cherry pick the information that I understood and try and convince people that I know what he's on about.
Yeah, I mean, he rose into prominence, didn't he? Because he was arguing a point of freedom of speech. And
so just general freedom would be a real bugbear for him, I imagine.
Yeah. I guess he has some sort of maybe libertarian leanings. Because he's so into Soviet Russia and the history there and Solzhenitsyn and all the rest.
Loves the gulag, doesn't he?
Yeah, I imagine he's very aware of the possibility of the state running out of control and locking people up and sending them to the gulags, and it's like a slippery slope, he'll be saying, I guess.
I think when it was initially pitched to us, we don't want to overrun the hospitals, it made a lot of sense. And a lot of people, it didn't. It made a lot of sense. We don't know what was going to happen. And then that sort of reason fizzled out, didn't it, after a bit, and you were left scratching your head. And now we're here again, 2.0, knowing more than what we did, doing the same thing again. In fact, we're even more half-hearted, aren't we? Well, we're having a 5-day break. What's that about? Like the virus is just, all right, then we'll just have a 5-day break and then we'll pick up again. I don't understand. I'd rather just do it properly than this half-hearted quarantine that we're doing.
You'd prefer a Chinese style while people in the houses locked down?
No, but I don't just, if this was earlier in the month, we wouldn't have 5 days off for Christmas, would we? I don't understand why Christmas is suddenly, all right, then we'll just have 5 days off.
I think they realised that they didn't have the public on side and they won't be able to police it. And so
definitely.
They had to announce this.
But then we all know we were going to go to everyone's house and do what we're normally going to do.
Yeah.
But at least as the government sort of pretend that we were going to see it out properly. We're half following it anyway.
Are we?
That's what I've heard. When I look out my bedroom window, I see people that are definitely not bubbles, and they're communicating very closely. And I shake my fist, and I bang on the window.
Do you ring the police?
It's fucking nuts, isn't it?
Yeah,
some of the articles you're reading about now. The one I was listening to, I was trying to find one. Was this? Have you not heard about this fucking reverend or priest that someone's reported the live stream of the service that he was doing because he had someone recording him and he was doing the sermon and playing music. So the police burst in and said, "Oi, you can't do this. We're arresting you," or whatever, and find him on the spot. And it's been quashed, basically, thankfully.
In this country?
Yeah. Yeah.
You say they need people to comply, and it only works if people grasp themselves. It's just Nazi Germany. You have to convince your neighbours to grass yourselves in. Grass you in.
Children.
Yeah, or even better, get the kids. Get the kids to do it.
Yeah.
My mate got grassed in by his neighbours for having people around. He had his other side neighbours round, and he got an on-the-spot fine in his house. But these people that do bring the police, they exist. These people exist. I remember them in school, and they're just older people that just buzz off it. You know the types of people that will absolutely get off on ringing the police and complaining.
Yeah.
Aren't they called Karens?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dan, can I just ask Dan as well before we talk about anything else? Just exactly how cold are you right now?
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty cold. I was going to launch a GoFundMe off this podcast, so if you could all chip in, that'd be great. I don't know how much a plumber is, but
Your heating's not working.
Can they not donate to my eating?
You know, start a fire.
No, I've been told off for that.
What's up with your boiler, Dan? Why have you no heating?
It keeps saying error code F2. So
And you googled that,
F2.
and it says.
that was it. That's all it says, F2.
Have you not googled it?
No.
No, if you Google the boiler model name and the code number, you'll find out what the problem is.
We can fix it right now.
Yeah, we're going to fix your boiler right now.
Yeah.
Have you tried turning it
Live on
on
the
and off
show?
again?
Yeah, carry your phone to your boiler. We'll go through the steps.
Yeah, just get a hammer
Yeah, your corgi registered right.
and a bucket.
No, I'll be all right. I've got him coming tomorrow.
I thought you said he was coming around the other day. So how long have you been without a boiler?
No, well, it went again, so.
Oh.
Is this a personal friend, the plumber who's coming to look at your boiler?
No. I don't have any friends that are plumbers.
How did you come across this tradesperson?
It was recommended from a friend, so it feels like a friend.
Good. Word of mouth. Recommendation is the best way.
Yeah.
What are you expecting to pay for the first hour of labour?
Well, I thought it'd be like an assessment, just like getting to know him, just half rates. Is that not right?
Just a hand job.
I don't know. What's the going rate for the first hour of a plumber?
I don't know.
50?
Is it?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
idea.
I've never had any boiler issues.
Oh well, so
Maybe a
I'm just thinking
separate
what
call-out charge.
would be a fair price to pay for the first hour labour? Dan says 50 quid. Matt?
I don't know. The last guy to come service our boiler, he just serviced it. And I think I can remember paying, I don't know, more than 50, but less than 100, I think.
Yeah, that's a standard charge though. He wasn't charging you for the labour.
All right,
But
okay.
this is where I'm at. It's either heating or a self-authoring program. So it's one or the other. And I'm torn.
What would you happily pay, Ben, for the first hour of a plumber's time?
I think that there'll be a call-out fee, like a standard call-out fee that might be as much as, I don't know, 125 quid. And then if he can fix it in that first hour, it won't cost you any more. But if he has to go to get some parts, or he starts sucking in air through his teeth and tapping the pipes, then you're in trouble.
Holy shit, you think 120 quid for the first hour?
I don't know.
I'm fucking jacking my prices up tomorrow. Well, what would it be then? That's what I'm asking you. What would you expect
I would
to pay?
say fair. If he was there for an hour and he just fixed it on the spot, like 40 or 50 quid, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
I would say that's fair.
You
Yeah.
have insurance, so you just come around and fix it. I think there's a certain amount of times I can call them, I'm sure, but our boiler's on the blink all the time. I just phone them up, they come around, fix it. See you next week, kind of thing.
My boiler's broken once in. This is quite new. I think it's been in 5 years. No, it's been longer than that. 7 years.
I was
The
brought.
old ones are the best. You can just fix them with like little bits of twisty pipe and stuff.
I was broke
It's one of them things.
2 years ago, and
Right.
yeah, I've not got round yet to fixing it.
What's wrong with it?
No hot water.
What?
No hot water.
So have you got an immersion or something?
No
So how do you heat your water?
kettle.
So you don't have any.
How do you have a shower?
What?
Oh, you got a power shower, an electric shower?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah.
You genuinely don't have any running hot water.
Oh my god.
You can.
I'm pretty sure that your house isn't classed as a dwelling, for a mortgage without hot water.
You can sort of con it if you put the heating on as well. You
Oh,
can
right,
con
okay.
it, but that's
Getting picture alongside and make it slightly warm.
Yeah.
but that's shaky because only if there's enough. You have to make sure you've got to jack the system full of pressure to make that happen.
Is it not closed though?
Close.
The heating system.
Yeah, but you can add water. There's a filling loop to add water
Why would you need to do that?
to jack the
It's
pressure
closed.
up.
Loses pressure. That's why ours breaks all the time.
Low pressure.
Mm.
Probably got a leak.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can see because it goes into a bucket underneath it.
Right.
Please get that fixed.
I know. The reason I want to get it fixed is because the boiler is above the consumer unit for the electrics. So I've fashioned a shelf and done some rudimentary waterproofing and put a bucket on it. So if it drips, it fills the bucket and doesn't splash onto the electrics.
Well, why don't you just fix the pipe? I mean, that leaks.
You spent longer making a shelf.
Bloody time.
You spent longer making a shelf to hold the bucket to catch the water than to fix the leak.
It was
pipe.
a shelf that I already had that fit nicely, and then just a bit of sealant on the back. But yeah, it loses pressure all the time, and you come around and fix it, and they go away, and it loses pressure again.
Do you know what they're doing, Ben? Are they not just filling your system with water for you?
No, I can do that. I've got a little.
Are you sure?
Yeah. They've replaced like whole fittings, bits of pipe and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what's in that bag when they come in? It's just stuff, dirty parts. They go, look at this, and all they've done is press reset and filled it full of water, and they're gone. Yeah,
probably, but they're not charging me any more than what I'm paying for the monthly thing. But I make sure they come out so I get my money's worth. Obviously.
We're, I'm thinking I'll probably change our boiler early next year, and that will probably be the last gas boiler we ever have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going back immersion, aren't we?
Going to electric, aren't we?
Will it be an electric boiler, though, or will it be a tank?
Have you seen that they want these, what are they called? The heat pump system.
The ground source heat pump thing?
Yeah, that's what they want to fit. They want to do that to 600,000 houses.
Aren't they notoriously rubbish? Oh, no, that's storage heaters.
Ground source heat pumps, you have to lay.
Yeah, they've got to
excuse the term. You have to lay cable. You have to lay like hundreds of meters of pipe under. Is it not just in the earth and it gets the earth's warmth or something?
They've got to dig up. They've got to dig up your drive and stuff. To put it.
Well, the only ground source heat pump I've seen was on Grand Designs, and this fucking guy got it, and he converted a castle, and he had to dig up like 200 square meters and lay, pipe up and down, up and down, up and down, like so 500 meters of pipe, and it got the warmth from the earth basically, and then took that in. Well, you fucked.
I don't want this new ground pump magma chamber system.
What's your ground source heat pump understanding, Phil? You probably know what it is, really.
No, not really.
All right, okay.
No, but I mean, you're gonna have to. The thing is, you're gonna have to either that or go electric, aren't you?
Wasn't that super expensive electric? More so than gas, and that's the reason why I was told not to switch the immersion heater on as a child.
Yeah. Because it's subsidised from the North Sea, isn't it? Gas.
Right.
So it's cheap. What it used to be.
Yeah.
So is electricity going to be cheaper all of a sudden, or what? I guess not.
No, because we're going to have to be paying for all of the wind farms and nuclear power stations.
Then you got to put your carbon tax on top of that as well.
Yeah. Have you got anything to say about ground source heat pumps, Dan?
No, I'm just glad I started this conversation.
Do you know what I don't understand with the electric cars?
Yeah.
What are you going to do if you live in a terraced house?
You'll get. I imagine you'll just have somewhere to plug it in outside underneath your window, won't you? Next to your door. But you run a cable.
But you know what it's like if you've ever lived in a terraced house. You can't always park in front of your own house. People take your space. They tend to be in and around town centres. A lot of commuters. They would have to make them all permit roads as well.
It'd have to be in the curb, otherwise you're going to be trailing.
Yeah, can you not just pop them out the curb?
The pavement, people tripping over them, scallies coming and unplugging your car at night, and then you get into get to work. You've got no power.
That's what like they do at Asda. Them ones. Like they do at Asda.
What do you mean?
You're already doing it.
Plug them in. Yeah.
All right.
Have you seen the front end, the disabled bit? There's like they're like a bollard. You just come plug it in.
You'd have to have one outside everyone's house on a terrace, on a row of terraces.
Yeah.
This is what you were saying, mate.
I don't get it.
They'd have to dig up the roads. It'd be better if you just had the socket like in the curb by the road, so you can't see.
They might do your plumbing and the electric all at once.
Well,
So
basically,
dig it all up again.
What'll happen is all the poor people that live in terraced houses will not be allowed to have cars. Basically,
well, that's sensible because there's nowhere to park them.
Yeah, and that's what'll happen.
They used to have a bus service that stopped right outside our house when I was growing up, and now there's no bus services hardly ever. In fact,
there's no buses. They've got rid of all buses.
So are people going to get to work, or will they not have to work, or will everyone work from home? Or
work in the virtual office.
What's that thing? Universal basic income, and no one owns anything.
Yeah, New World Order, the Great Reset.
New World Order.
Mm.
Someone should invent an internal combustion engine that runs off, petrol or diesel or something, and we could use that.
Don't they have?
That way you won't be tied to the electric grid.
Wasn't hydrogen going to be a thing at one point?
Yeah, fuel cell. They're very heavy, aren't they?
I don't know.
Hydrogen fuel cells. There's one exists. Ever like Nissan or Toyota built it, but it was incredibly heavy. So I think it's more suited to railway.
Couldn't we have like normal cars if they put all the money and effort into having electric or hydrogen fueled trucks? If you converted all the trucks and stuff, you'd probably have a huge impact on the environment. And trucks aren't often parked outside terraced houses, so you'd solve that problem as well. Well, all this is happening in the next 10 years, right? 2030.
9.
That's not going to happen.
It is happening.
Well,
no, it's the sale of new petrol and diesel only cars. Some hybrid cars are going to be allowed, aren't they?
The used market prices are going to go through the roof. No one's going to want an electric car if the infrastructure is not there. They're going to hold out for as long as possible. It'll be like Cuba, where people are driving around in beat-up old 50s cars.
Yeah.
At least we'll have rum.
Rum?
Is it rum in Cuba?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, we lost Dan. See you, Dan. See that?
Ronda Cuba. Anejo.
He's probably going to do some sit-ups.
I guess that's why rum was big in the pirate stuff, and pirate novels and pirate videos, because of the
why
the pirates around the Caribbean.
All right, yeah, made from sugarcane, isn't it? Rum.
Yeah, and didn't they use it to drive off things like scurvy? It was basically what Trump was saying: inject some antiseptic, cure all.
They used to eat boucan. You heard of boucan?
Did Trump say that? I've never seen that quote. I've still not seen that quote. Did he say it? Sorry.
He just went off.
Sorry, I went from a charger.
No fucks given.
And a run.
He said it ages ago, and he was talking about we need to inject Dettol or something. Didn't use a brand name, and something about light. If we could get light inside our veins, we'd kill the virus.
Or just let people out in the summer, in the sunshine would do it. Be a better way. In fact, that could be part of the reason why there's a seasonality effect. It could be UV having some effect on it. I don't know.
Vitamin D.
Or vitamin D. Did you see? Matt Hancock's finally caught up with this podcast, and he's announced vitamin D free supplies for certain age groups and people in vulnerable categories.
Yeah.
It's good.
Phil, I've got a question.
Go ahead.
What do you think about Joe Rogan's Spotify switch? Oh, have you done it? Have you done this one?
No, I don't think we've
not
talked
really.
about it, have we?
No, we've talked about it in passing, I think.
We touched on it.
Initially, I thought, oh, fucking sell out. And I'm pretty still there, pretty much.
Oh.
I wouldn't have done it if I was him. I know it sounds probably stupid because didn't he get 300 million or something, 30 million a year or whatever? I can't remember.
Was it?
I think he was doing all right without it. And why would you? The whole point of his podcast was it was immune from advertisers, and it was immune from commercial sponsors. That's why he could say what he wanted and have people on like Alex Jones, for example.
But he did have him on recently, and he's on Spotify.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only difference I noticed though is they've made a lot of effort to make sure what he was saying was right, and I've never known him to go to that great effort.
And it's early days yet, Don. Give it a year and then see. You know, I just don't see why you would want that corporate overlord.
Because it mustn't have been making or stood the chance of making 100 million or whatever it is. I think this is he can make 130 million, can't he? I think that's what I read. If he hits certain targets,
he was making a fortune, and he's already a successful stand-up comedian, TV presenter. He doesn't need the money. That's what I don't get.
I know, it's a bit weird, isn't it?
He's not funny though, is he?
I don't watch it. I give up listening months ago. Yeah. The only one I've listened to recently was with Brian Marekidou, is it? The author of the book about the Koukion, the Greek Koukion, the drink of the Eleusinian mysteries, the immortality key, the immortality key.
No, that's probably one I've not watched.
And Graham Hancock was on with him over Skype because he wrote the foreword for the book. So was
it a good one?
Yeah. Well, I bought the book, so it worked on me. Yeah. They had these things called ancient mystery schools in ancient Greece, and all the major luminaries used to go to this place called Eleusis, not far from Athens, and get initiated. And it was a highly secretive organisation. On pain of death, you wouldn't reveal what happened during the Eleusinian mysteries. And there's very little written record. We don't know much about it. We know like people like Cicero, Plato, Emperor Hadrian, all these guys went and were initiates. But it seems that part of the thing that happened was they had a drink called the Koukion. And the whole premise of the book is he's trying to find what was in this drink. Because there's been speculation that hallucinogenics were involved.
Ayahuasca.
Like ayahuasca. More likely the thing, Salem witch trials. Ergot. You heard of ergot poisoning?
No.
There's been records throughout history of like they'll have a village and they'll have like a mass hallucination event.
Right, okay.
And it turns out it will be ergot on the wheat, and it's like a hallucinogenic, poisonous thing.
Is it a mould or something?
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but
fungus again.
It will be a bit, won't it? A fungus, yeah.
Who was that? Joe Jackson? The guy who organised the big mass, everyone drink this and we'll all die together. I'm not going to drink mine, or you go first.
Brian Jones.
Was it him?
Brian Jones.
There's been a few, haven't there?
The Kool-Aid.
What do you mean?
Kool-Aid thing.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
No, I'm trying to think. I swear it was like Joe Jackson or something. He had a big following. I just can't think of the word. What you call him?
A cult?
Yeah,
yeah,
cult.
Yeah. He had a big cult. And then he did the whole big mass suicide thing, and there's an audio recording. You can hear like women and children screaming.
Jim Jones.
Jim Jones, that's it. What did I say? Joe Jackson?
Yeah.
He's a boxer.
I thought he's Michael's brother.
Yeah, and I think there was one more recently. What was were they called? The Children of the Stairway or something? I can't remember what they were called.
That's a freaky name.
It wasn't that.
Good ones.
Something of God. Children of God.
It's either that or a good band name. Children of the Stairway. And it'd be stare as in stare with your eyes.
Yeah.
Have you ever read much or seen much about what's the David Koresh?
No, I've heard the name.
Do you not remember this? It was during our childhood.
Which one is it? The
David Koresh, who was the cult leader, and he had people holed up in a compound in Texas. Waco.
Oh, the shootout. Waco. Yeah, the shootout. Yeah.
Oh, was this the one on Netflix?
Yeah, they've done a.
Have they?
They've made it into a drama, haven't they? I think.
Yeah, so interesting, isn't it?
How they do it.
What do you mean, the cult
they
leader?
Shag them all, don't they?
Yeah,
He
that's what it's all about.
them. You.
Yeah, what is it?
It's nuts. Imagine being that good at public speaking that you can handpick who you're going to sleep with.
I am.
I've seen you.
Do you think
people are sleeping, just not sleeping with you?
Oh, that's what you meant. It's a different type of sleeping with.
people like Jim Jones and David Koresh? What do you think's like the going on? What's like the condition they have? Because then obviously they're not right in the head, are they?
Messiah complex.
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Sociopath, isn't it?
Massive narcissist. Yes, psychopath, sociopath. I don't know if it's an empathy problem. It's just that grandiose sense of self that I definitely know how to fix these problems that are going on. And I'm going to pick people that aren't too sure and just tell them that this is the definite, bit like Hitler, I suppose.
Charismatic orator.
Yeah. And if you're good with your words, one booming speech here and there.
I think the thing is if you're a narcissist, then you're going to really believe what you're saying is true. And that probably comes across if you're then speaking to a group of people, I guess.
Yeah.
But then it's not necessarily... It tends to be people that are running away from stuff or need a change or that buy into it.
There'll always be that group of people, though. Like, have you ever heard Manson speak? There is something quite, I can't think of the word, quite viral about it. Like, you do want to watch it and you do want to listen. Russell Brand has that a little bit, I think.
Is there a bit of mesmerism going on, do you think?
Yeah, because it's so different, isn't it? That it's like, that's why it's so interesting and so watchable.
I was going to say, you mentioned Russell Brand. I was going to say, are there any examples? Well, I'm sure there are more examples of people who have this issue but use it for good or neutral purposes.
Well, I was going to say Russell Brand,
good or neutral outcomes, rather.
I think because he's gone quite spiritual with it, hasn't he? He did a talk called Messiah Complex, and the whole spin on it and the end was how at the beginning he sort of jokes about Messiah Complex and how he's similar to Jesus, but he isn't. And he picks other cultural heroes like Che Guevara, people like this, and he sort of does the similarities and differences between him and them. And at the end, he sort of ties it all well. And it's really, really interesting and funny and insightful all the way through. And I think he's a good example, but I think he escaped. He nearly got into politics, didn't he? I don't know if you've ever seen that True's News he used to do.
Yeah. Where
he used to do that YouTube show, and he did really well. And he definitely nearly went down the route of becoming a political leader, but I think he got a good woman, didn't he? He had kids. He has a good sense of humour. I don't know if Hitler was funny, but I think it kind of helps if you can laugh at yourself. So I don't think his ego played a bigger role later on in life. I think he kind of calmed down a little bit. But I think if you got him in his early 20s, you seen him doing all them protests and things like that, I think he would have gone to that level at that point. But I think later on in life, he just channeled it somewhere else and then made a joke of it, which, pays the bills. I think he's a good example. He's so eloquent as well, isn't he?
Incredible.
Does that fit in with the sort of internet influencers like ourselves, who go viral and have huge followings. Like Taylor Swift has a massive following. All right, she's a musician, but is there anything other than that outside that's driving that popularity? And again, is this another form of mesmerism? Or I've never heard her talk about anything. I've just heard music.
I think that's a difficult one, because there's always been musicians that get a big following, but there's definitely influencers that don't have a specific talent other than gaining views by different means. And I don't know if you remember, there was a period of social pranks on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was just a way to gain views under the false pretense that there was some experiment to see how society reacts. And it went as far as elaborate pranks of kidnappings, all the way to shouting in a McDonald's. And there's something as a viewer that clicks, go on then, let's see what happens if you shout in a Mackey's. Then you watch it. You don't really equate it to giving them millions of pounds, but it just does. It is interesting.
No, they're not really followers, right? They're people who take a passing interest for an extremely short amount of time and then move on, and then that's counted as a point, an internet point for said person.
The worrying thing is that I see is the people that have, and fair play to them, they diversify after they get this following, and they'll move into something else. So if you get a following of 1 million people that will always watch your videos, never mind me or you that might just watch it to see what happens if you shout in a Mackey's, then there's millions of people that are behind you will follow you into something else just to see what it's like. So some of them start doing music and stuff, and then the first song they bring out gets 1 million views. You don't mean it's any good. It's just 1 million people knew who you were and now want to see how crap your music is. But then 1 million views on a song is, I don't know.
I often think that
more than a boiler.
Children's book authors, all these celebrities that bring out children's books, there's loads of them, and none of them are authors, and they'll bring out a children's book, and they'll get a lot of sales. But you're right, the children's book is probably awful. I mean, it's difficult to gauge greatness in a children's book. But
I think they forget like their bar is here now, so anything you do has to beat that bar. You can't just say compare it to if we did something, because you're always going to beat that. But I think it's part of that ego, isn't it? Well,
that probably harks back to Joe Rogan and why he's gone over to Spotify. He's got that bar, and what can get him higher? Well, I'll tag onto this network that has X million number of people on it.
Well, we were talking about something similar at work, actually, about Trump and like how he's clearly a narcissist. And if he was in a working class environment, his narcissistic personality would be something he'd need therapy for, because if he worked at Asda on the tills, he wouldn't get anywhere. No one would like him, no one would work with him, and he'd never get promoted. But given the status economically that he had, it's pushed him to the top. Now, in his mind, what does he do next after being the president? There is no higher position, so I reckon he's just going to go. He's just going to implode. There's nothing left for him now that anyone will care about.
I told these guys that I had a bizarre dream during the American election where I think the last thing I'd read before I went to sleep was that he'd gone back to the Oval Office and there was a Marine stationed outside the door. That's how he knew he'd gone to the Oval Office. Anyway, I went to sleep, and in my dream, I was in the Oval Office watching Trump, and he was behind his desk. He just pulled his drawer open and pulled out like a Magnum or something and finished himself off.
No.
I thought, what the fuck? What a way to end. I mean, and that got me thinking about, how do you go higher than that?
For a narcissist, what do you do?
Make sure you're remembered forever, be that for good or bad purposes. Anyway, it was a weird dream. I think I'd
either that, or he'll do Christmas number one.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the safer bet.
It's the same level, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was a rumour he was
equally as messy.
There was a rumour he was going to start his own news channel.
Oh yeah, I could see that. Definitely.
What happened to? There's a news channel starting here, isn't it? GB News or something that's supposed to be.
Not heard anything. Not heard anything for a while. It's Andrew Neil who's behind it.
Oh yes, yeah. He's left the BBC, hasn't he?
Yep. I think it's good. More news, more different news outlets. I think they'll be sort of they'll be pitching themselves against the normal mainstream 5-channel news outlets. I think it's going to be more in depth. So, you know, if you watch Channel 4 News, it's an hour long, you get maybe 10 minutes per segment. Whereas I think this is going to be based on some of the American news channels where they have it's not like rolling news, like BBC News 24. It'll be hour-long shows. And, you know, there'll be the Andrew Neil show, the Des O'Connor show, whatever. Not Des O'Connor.
How often before they start showing reruns of Friends, though? Like, he'll just do what MTV used to be music videos.
I love Friends.
GB News used to be news. And there'll be adverts, right? I imagine it's going to be heavily advert-based, because everything is.
I presume so, yeah. Yeah, well, there's only the BBC that doesn't run adverts. So, so I'm guessing... Well, yeah, it's not going to be publicly funded, is it? So it's going to have adverts.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think about the licence fee?
As a millennial.
Yeah, let's get a millennial perspective on the TV licence fee.
It's fucking nonsense, isn't it?
What's BBC Three like? I've not watched it. Dan, you'll know.
Reruns of Family Guy, I think. I haven't watched the BBC programme in forever. I don't know.
You don't have...
I can't even think what I would watch. Match of the Day, but
you don't? So you don't consume the BBC? This is why you resent being forced to pay for a TV licence every year?
Yeah.
What would you do with it? What would you do with the licence fee?
What, with the money?
No, I mean, how would you...
Start the plan.
How would you reform it?
What would I do instead of it?
Yeah.
I think there should be a service where you pick the channels you watch and you just pay for that.
So like a Netflix, everyone's a Netflix. So you pay.
And it's the same with sporting events. Like, why do I have to... I don't want to watch Fulham versus Reading. I want to watch United versus City. So why can I not just pay for that game and then it go off at the end? I don't want to watch the other shit. I want to watch reruns of Catfish. That's a good TV show. But I don't want to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I should be able to pick and choose the stuff I want to watch. We're almost there, aren't we?
Yeah, I think that's the direction we're heading in, you know, because we've got Disney Plus arrived this year. We talked about this years ago on the podcast, that this is... Ben, I think you were bemoaning the fact that pretty soon, in a couple of years, you're just going to have 18 different subscriptions for $4.99.
Yep. And you'll watch a handful of shows from each, but you'll need them all.
Yeah.
This is the problem. It would be better if we could get rid of these networks and do it show by show.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That would be...
That's what YouTube is, isn't it? Really?
That would be the market answer, the market solution, the capitalist solution for it, wouldn't it?
Someone tried that. What was his... It was another one who got caught wanking. He's a stand-up comedian.
Louis C.K.?
Yeah. He
didn't get caught wanking. He asked them to stay in the room.
All right, whatever. And he recorded a sitcom and put it on his own website. And
it's a massive sitcom. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now, isn't it?
Louis, isn't it? It's called Louis.
Yeah.
It was quite good. It was all right. I watched one episode of it.
I would say that because the barrier to entry has been lowered because of the internet, that this is a more realistic possibility. The problem is if you take a show like Game of Thrones and think what the production costs are, you've got to sort of pitch for funding, and then it's make or break with the show. There's no studio backing.
Yes.
It'd be brave, wouldn't it? If you can imagine going back 10 years and right, we're going to make the first season of Game of Thrones. The budget for the first season is £20 million. And then you've got to charge for that season enough to get that money back. there's probably a good, people would be up for that, I think. What if you could even crowdfund it, couldn't you?
Well, again, that has been done. I'm sure that got done with Community. Did it? Might be getting that wrong.
I'm sure people get these subscriptions for 1 or 2 programs max. So people are paying for Sky, but just for the sake of watching Game of Thrones.
That's the thing. Yeah, I remember when, I think it was Sky Atlantic launched.
Mm. Yeah.
And it was pretty much the only channel with anything that I would watch on it.
Mm.
And so I had to pay, whatever it was, 30 quid a month for one channel.
Mm. Yeah. I've always said it about sporting events because it just seems the most feasible.
Yeah, but it exists.
To some degree. Not game by game, though.
No.
But by boxing, boxing's easy, isn't it? Boxing, you just Box Nation, you get it and you get the whole night. But I don't get why that's not transferred into football.
Pay-per-view across the board.
Yeah.
Is what we're thinking.
Yeah.
All right.
Clubs, I was going to say, some clubs want to do that, don't they? Sell their own rights.
It's only 90 minutes, so you'd have to have some like pre-match, like 5-a-side or something, a warm-up game. You could do it with basketball because it lasts forever, and you can have pre-matches. You can do it with boxing because it's all night. A test match would be great. If I had the time, I'd totally sit down and watch a test match. Pay for it.
For 4 days.
4 days of rain. Just Aggers doing anecdotes.
Just to play devil's advocate, Dan. Some people would say that one of the...
No. You need to do it in the voice.
What voice?
Al Pacino.
Some people would say that it's a good thing to have a state-funded service. That there are some benefits to that.
I mean, I'm all for no adverts. I just want good content. I'm not watching Graham Norton show.
Are you referring to the soft power, Phil? Where we spend a lot of money in Africa producing content in like pidgin English and stuff.
They're just notoriously crap, aren't they? How long does it take them to come up with a Killing Eve? They've just always been crap. Netflix just fire them out.
Like series after. The difference between Netflix is they have. Last time I checked, it was just over 100 million subscribers. So if it's anywhere between, is it 5 and 12 quid? So that a month.
Yeah.
Are they making $1 billion? Is that?
This is the problem. They're not making a penny. They're losing money.
That's what I mean. Sorry, but they generate $1 billion, don't they? But they're investing in content, aren't they?
They're not making any money yet.
And it only grew out of the absolute tripe that's on TV.
Yeah.
If they were producing Killing Eve, like look how much they pumped into Downton Abbey. Now, there's only a certain demographic that are watching the BBC that are going to watch Downton Abbey. Killing Eve brought them back, and then what Netflix would have done is hit you with a new series recommended for you because you like Killing Eve, something else that's great, but it's not.
But, do you know, Dan, about 8 years ago, when I first got Netflix, and it wasn't even that long ago, I think I got it for Breaking Bad. They didn't make their own stuff.
No, you're right. I remember Love Film.
Yes,
Love Film. I was going to say, yeah. I've still got this, I think, in the envelope.
The thing is, they went wrong, those early ones, and Netflix figured it out that there's only so many times you can watch Armageddon and Love Actually, because that was the level of films they used to have on. And Netflix went off with series, and Love Film kept trying to hammer you with these terrible, like, petrol station DVD films, and then it just went... Whereas Netflix went off with the series, and it turns out, and it's the same as the podcast, people do want to sit down and watch something that is that long. Films and general interviews, like on the Graham Norton show, no one wants 5 minutes of Jason Statham and fucking Daniel Radcliffe. Like, people will actually invest in hours if it's interesting, if it's good content. And that's why I think they are dying off. And to make you pay for it, Jesus. That's my point.
I'd get rid of it.
Yeah.
I'd get rid of the license fee. Yeah, I don't think.
I listen to a lot of radio now, though.
Yeah,
It's not the license fee; it's the language they use around it. The vans they claim exist, and the profit they make when they sell you one at the door. It's all that side of it that just drives me nuts.
the profit. What? What's the last bit?
Well, if you sell a TV license, as the TV license people, you make £20.
Right.
What?
It's fucked. If they get to your door and they manage to strong arm you into buying one, they'll make a bonus. They are salesmen.
Oh, right. Okay.
I went down.
And the vans don't exist. Have you ever seen a van?
No. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole about a year ago, and it was a playlist on YouTube called TV License Goons. And it was people with cell phones recording what happens when the TV license guys just them slamming the doors in their faces, telling them to fuck off.
Yeah. Do I legally have to answer these questions?
I'm not entering in a contract. I haven't agreed to enter into a contract with you.
Yeah, you can't come in. You can't come in. I've got to tell you. No.
I've been looking in the window. I was walking past. And I looked in your window and I saw the TV on. And sometimes they let him in, and they come round and they come and check. And like the guy's like, I just have a DVD player, mate. I just watch movies.
Yeah.
And they go and they have to go. I have to check your equipment. So they go and look round back at TV to make sure there's not an aerial wire. All the rest of it.
It's on its last legs because it's the days of Wi-Fi now, and GDPR. They can't access what you're watching through your Wi-Fi, so it is just coming to your house and scaremongering and putting a fake dish on a van.
Well, you were going to say you've never seen the van. When I did my brief stint at Salford University for 2 years, there was a TV licensing van with 4 old aerials stuck on its roof. and they occasionally left it parked in the car park near the Students' Union.
Really? That's scare tactics, that?
Yeah.
That's terrible. I wish I wish I knew someone that worked TV license, and they could just come on and say, "Listen, we're sat in the van laughing. We're not doing nothing."
Watching Netflix.
They probably were just going door to door, weren't they? Scaring students.
But they know, don't they?
They know.
It's like,
they go for your postcode. They know if an address hasn't paid a TV license.
Yeah, but you don't have to have one, do you?
No.
So, it's scary. I was thinking this the other day, that's like con men, aren't they, essentially? Do you remember, like in ancient Greece, Phil, you might know, like in ancient Greece, like the oracles that they used to go to, am I going to win this war?
I might know.
I feel like it's more Phil.
Okay.
Like the oracles, the lepers, oh, you're going to win, attack him on the hill, that kind of stuff. They must have known they were lying. Like the televangelists we were on about last time with the rocket, with the airplane. They must have been like the first day and age of con men. They were just like, just tell him he'll win and he'll leave it alone.
They believe themselves, like you said earlier, Dan. That televangelists, classic example. I think they actually believe their own tribe. Yeah.
I'm torn with it. I do think there's that. I think it is that cult mentality, and I'm the leader.
No.
And then I think a bit of it is to go, I'm getting paid a lot, I've just got to keep this going.
Do you know?
But imagine launching a war.
I think you're all completely wrong. I think you're talking about like divination, what they used to practice, where they would like read the entrails and stuff. There was a story last year, and it was a farmer down in like Arkansas or something, and he could open up he was a pig farmer, I think, and he could open up one of his pigs, look at the spleen, and predict the weather.
Nice.
Something, and it was founded in science and biology. They explained how it worked, and there was something changed in the season or the temperature would alter the food, and that would cause a reaction in the spleen. And this farmer was so in tune with the nature that he could look at that spleen and predict like the next harvest.
A witch.
It's
What a war.
It's called
Come on.
divination, and they practiced it for thousands of years.
There's too many moving
Science,
parts in
bitch.
that, though.
I don't know.
Spleens.
The hardest
You
I
only-
can believe.
you
I
only
get
have
the
to be-
hardest, but come on.
You only have to be right for it to, in a statistically significant amount. You don't have to be right every time. If you're right more often than you're wrong, then that's a real
But what you
effect.
can
a
do is you
useful
go,
effect.
ooh, you must have done something wrong. Or the guy who asked you is dead because he lost and you don't have to face up to it.
I think it's a spectrum. There will have been chances and people who don't know what they're doing, but I think there is probably some knowledge that we've lost that might allow people to make predictions based on what we would call woo-woo nonsense. I don't know. I'm open to the possibility.
Thought you side with me there, Phil. I really do.
No. I have a work story.
Oh, good.
Not from this week. It was from last week. I didn't have
You mean-
time.
You've been saving it.
Well, no, we didn't have time last week because we had our hands full with Charlie Robinson,
Yeah.
and we went long. But I was working for a family this week before last, and the dad was at work, and the son was at work, and the mother had to nip and take her mum to the hairdressers or something. So it was just me and the 18-year-old daughter in the house. And
God.
oh, it's not going where you think it's going. She's doing A-levels, so she was on a Zoom call in the dining, like a Zoom lesson in the dining room.
Yeah.
And I was pottering around. It's been a bit of a ball ache because of people working at home. I can't just turn the power off when I want to, so I have to work. So I was fucking around doing some lights or something, and I had my earbuds in. I was listening to a podcast, can't remember which one. And I just walked past where she was working in the dining room, and I just heard on the teacher on the Zoom call saying, "Can anyone remember the names of those Neo-Marxists we were discussing last week?" And my ears pricked up. I thought, oh, this sounds interesting. I'll take my earbuds off, pause. I'm going to listen to this. And it turns out she's studying law. And it got a bit garbled and I couldn't hear. And like the next thing I heard clearly was like, let's talk about victimhood, the teacher says. And she goes, there's two types of victimhood. So here's the first example. If I go out and I leave my house unlocked and I'm burgled, am I a victim?
Anyway, are you going to finish your story, Phil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Neo-Marxists.
Can do, yeah.
So you're in a room full of neo-Marxists.
Yeah.
I embellished a bit after you'd left.
Yeah, the sort of next bit of the conversation I got a bit garbled, and then the next thing I heard her say was, let's talk about victimhood. So
good.
There's two types of victimhood. First type, if I go out and I leave my house unlocked and I get burgled, am I a victim? And everyone in the class in the online lesson, I could hear them piping up saying, well, yeah, that's it. Of course you are. You shouldn't leave your house unlocked, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, well, what about, put it this way. What if I'm an 18-year-old girl and I'm a little bit tipsy and then I get raped? Am I a victim then? I thought, fucking hell. And she went on and said, I had an argument with my husband over this because he was about to have a conversation with our daughter about not getting herself in vulnerable situations. And so I said to my husband, okay, so are we going to have a chat with our son about not being a rapist?
It's escalated quickly.
And then I was stunned listening, and then she said something like, I had to take note. I took extensive notes of what she was saying. I said, I love my husband, but sometimes a bit of patriarchal thinking slips out of him. But don't worry, I set him straight.
Oh, no.
It's like, fucking hell. These are people poisoning the minds of the youth.
Yeah, but surely she was she's not talking about in a more balanced way, like the victimhood and the Neo-Marxists, hopefully. Saying why it might be bad.
That was the end of the lesson. See you next week.
Here endeth the lesson. You might have missed the stuff on the bad bits of being a victim.
I just thought it was an interesting comparison to draw.
Yeah,
It's the sort of thing of saying, like, you know, we don't blame a young woman who's maybe a bit tipsy for being a victim. It's where's this question of personal responsibility come into it?
What do you mean?
Well, take the first example of if you leave your house unlocked and you get burgled. Well, is it not your responsibility to make sure your house is secure if you're going to leave it?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right.
Yeah,
now,
in an ideal world, you'd be able to do that, though. You would be able to just leave your house unlocked and no one will burgle it.
correct,
Yeah.
but we don't live in an ideal world.
No, we don't.
You have to live in the real world.
And the real world is dangerous.
Yeah.
And there is an element of you should exercise caution in living your life in many situations. But at the same time, if you lived your life without taking any risks at all, I personally think it would be pretty boring.
Yeah.
That's only a personal opinion. I'm sure there's people out there who take no risks at all and love it.
It's that old saying, I'd rather live a day like a lion than a year as a sheep.
Yeah, got that tattooed on my back.
Yeah, you have to take some risks. If you were prepared to take zero risks, you would never leave your house.
No.
Well, even in the house.
Well, yeah, there are risks in the house. I mean, you won't be able to function as a human being at all.
Yeah, you wouldn't live.
No. So there's a balance. There's the balance because obviously that can go into recklessness, can't it? We know that young men, a bit younger than Dan. How old are you, Dan?
Such a thing?
How old are you, Dan?
27 now.
Right. So, all right. So you're actually a man now, I think. A fully developed man.
Jacked.
Get in there.
A fully developed man, because isn't it about 27 where the prefrontal cortex finishes developing in males?
Up to 25, isn't it?
25, 17 for girls,
Up to 25.
and 17 for girls.
Something like that. Yeah, 20, I think.
And this is why, historically, young men have always paid more for car insurance up to the age of 25 because they are less risk averse. And we all know it because we've all done it. We've all been there.
Yeah, I drive like a dad now.
I do. You could put a fucking tennis ball on my bonnet. It'd still be there by the time I get to where I'm going. Do you know what changed my driving? Do you remember?
The many near-death experiences you have. Slamming various vans and cars into things.
I had 2 crashes in one day once. 2 bumps, minor bumps. They weren't not insurance jobs. It was a bit of paint swappage. But you know what changed? What I remember. Do you remember you two dads that first trip home from the hospital with your first child?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, that will change your driving.
Yeah.
Your entire perspective on life changes. You're not just a easygoing, free and easy guy. Hey, it doesn't matter if I die today, does it? I'm gonna take this hill at 60, and I can't see what's on the other side. What's the worst that can happen? I might die. Never mind. Once you have kids, that entire perspective changes, and all of a sudden you're thrust. Going back to Jordan Peterson, you're thrust with responsibility. You have a responsibility now, and life isn't about you anymore. You are a secondary. You're a secondary influence. Your life is focused on someone else instead. And
I'm not trying to put you off or anything, Dan.
No, don't have to
Well, as a
get
narcissist, it doesn't matter, so it's fine.
it's the most important job in the world. For us men, particularly.
Masturbating.
Yeah, masturbating.
I wanted to go back to what you said about the victim stuff, though. I don't know the actual definition for it. I'd be interested if the idea is that you have to have no influence on what happens to you. So you said being tipsy or leaving your door unlocked. Does it have to be something completely external to you? Then you are a victim. So you get hit by, well, because then you'll never find the line, will you, of how you couldn't have impacted that situation. You could say, I got hit by a drunk driver, but then you could say, oh, well, I shouldn't have been on the road. So I don't really understand the definition where you would be a pure victim by what she was saying in those standards.
Unless it's an act of God.
Yeah.
Then you might be able to.
Because you could always find some personal responsibility. I'm all for personal responsibility. I think it's the biggest thing we have to do at work is to encourage people to take personal responsibility to better their own situation. But the whole victim thing, I think it does encourage that lethargy towards this has just happened to me and it happens all the time and I'm playing no role in it, which only encourages it. That's how you get bullied. You have that demeanour, don't you? Or you get bullied in high school, then work, and then in later life because you carry yourself that certain way that always attracts it. I don't know if you've seen 60 Days Inside. You've seen that program on Netflix. Really good.
You get talking about this, Dan, don't you?
I'm trying it all in. But there was a fella on it who basically they get 6 contestants to go inside a jail for 60 days. And it's very interesting to see the people before they go in, how they sort of are and how they react in that environment. And there was a fella who got bullied at high school, bullied at work, and then he wanted to become I can't think of the word over there, but a prison officer. And he was really sort of keen on changing this identity he had, and he was the only one that got assaulted. and he got assaulted. But he went in with that. He went in, and his demeanour and everything about him brought people towards him to bully him. And I don't think he ever sort of saw. I think it would have been great for them to show him that. Well, he will see the footage back, but there was no responsibility of him to change the way he was doing. He said he wanted to, but he never did. And then, one of the first days, he's like, they have like a computer where you order your food in, and someone came over and pressed it for them, like add a Snickers on, and he just sort of went and then carried on with his order, which is like rule number 1. Like, you don't show anyone what you're ordering, and if anyone presses anything, you have to do something about it. And then that's it. Everyone knows he's a target, and they can do what they want to him. But in that sense, he created this identity of being a victim, and they all fed off it.
And I
think that's got. Go on, sir.
He was a correctional officer.
No, he wanted to be, so he went on the show to get the experience of being a prisoner. So when he went to do an interview, he could say, well, I've done 60 days inside, just to give him a little bit of something else in the interview. But this sort of identity that had been, you don't know, obviously there's lots to it, but this sort of bullying that stuck with him throughout school, he sort of created this identity and it carried on in the programme. And you could see it from day one that it was not going to end well. But from what you just said about that teacher, I'd be interested to hear her perspective of it. Yeah. That was it, really.
Well, the fact that people can get bullied.
No, but you can create your own victimness.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
people choose to be victims, don't they?
It's an easy out, isn't it? It's easier to blame something external than blame yourself.
Yeah, but I guess that's not what she was promoting.
Do you think the people who've lost their jobs due to coronavirus are true victims? Because that's an external influence, isn't it?
An act of God.
Yeah.
Act of China.
Do you want to play your jingle for Dan?
Which one?
Well, the Wuhan flu one to start off.
Lockdown 2?
Yeah.
We're going lockdown 2 because of Wuhan flu. Infection rates are higher. We're going lockdown 2. We're scared of Kung Flu. Boris is friggin' lying. Joe.
That's it.
That's good. Can I go back to what Ben said then?
Yeah.
No.
Please do.
I think it's an interesting point. I do think though, what would be the benefit of that mindset though?
What mindset?
I think there's a really good argument.
Ooh.
I think, but if you've lost your job, would your next step be to protest, or would it to be?
I think for some,
concentrate on maybe giving yourself some peace of mind, then protesting.
well, yeah, I mean that's the ideal thing, but you've got to go through your stages, haven't you? While you're angry and bitter, you might want to hop on the train, mask up, go to London.
I think it's probably a beneficial coping skill short term to go, I've just been fucked. But long term, it must be easier to think of it that way. But long term, I think it's one of those coping skills that we work on when we work with anxious people, that you've got to help people see that mentality long term is just going to bring you more problems.
Do you think that they might look back at themselves and say, well, could I have done better and been in a better job that may have been more secure? That's a hell of a lot of foresight. To have.
I think that will just, again, that mindset as well, that'll just drive you insane, because there'll be stuff that you've avoided by having that job that you'll never know about.
Yeah.
You know, you had a job where you've just walked to work every day and there was a train crash on the way to Manchester. You'll never go, thank God I didn't work in Manchester. So if anyone ever came in with that mindset, then we would actually offer those alternatives to say, well, hang on a minute, look at all the stuff that could have happened.
It's taking risk, isn't it? I mean, even by it's an example of taking risk. Following a career path as opposed to another career path is a risk.
Yeah.
Anything.
It's most of business owners, isn't it? Yeah, that's a hell of a risk to take, to open your own business. You're never gonna. I mean, the amount of bugs that go around anyway. It's just, I think it's odd that this has got so much publicity.
Yeah, it is.
It's down to the response. That's why. Back in October 2019, WHO pandemic guidelines were don't lock down, don't isolate people, wash your hands, and stay home if you're ill. That was it. But it all changed this year.
When we had swine flu, the last pandemic, it was wash your hands, keep your nose clean, kind of thing. There was nothing additional.
Yeah, the world's gone insane.
Do you think there's a bigger plan in place?
No. You're talking about the reset, the Great Reset.
I don't know what that is, but I just feel like this reaction seems massively exaggerated, and I'm trying to think of why and who that would work for.
Fringe benefits.
It's a you can't argue that it's been a disproportionate reaction now. We've spent all right, we've got a new disease. We know the case fatality rate's about between 0.2 and 0.8. We knew that in March. John Ioannidis, best epidemiologist in the world, knew that in March. So we knew the CFR. Right, well, what's the problem? If this gets out of control, it's going to overwhelm the health service, and we're not going to be able to treat cancers, and we're not going to be able to treat heart attacks and strokes and all this lot. Okay, what do? Get rid of all the cancer treatment, cancel all the screening, cancel all operations that aren't urgent, cancel the dentistry, because toothache's really good fun to live with. And then we won't have our health service overwhelmed. It's backwards thinking.
Yeah, and the gyms as well.
And what's it going to cost? About 3 times the annual NHS budget. Is that all? Well, no, plus about another 50 billion. About 380 billion so far. But we're going to carry on and do it till March as well. It's fucking insane.
Worst recession for 3 centuries, I think.
It just baffles me, because these are highly intellectual people. I don't get what's making their vision and the decisions so cloudy. And this is why I always feel like we don't know the full picture, because these they can see it for what it sounds like, yet they're still going ahead with it. So there's something else going on that's making them go through with it.
They're trapped now. The politicians are trapped. They've no out. They can't walk it back. They can't admit that they made a mistake on this scale. It's suicide, political suicide. So we're stuck in this. They're pinning the hopes now on the vaccine. They hope the vaccine will give us an out.
Do you think it's that simple? They're going to continue this for the sake of egos?
They will do whatever's politically expedient. All they care about...
They just replace the person, don't they? When it gets a bit shit and the guy just goes, he steps down. That always happens. As soon as it gets a bit mucky, someone just steps down.
He used to. It's not happened in this administration, has it? Because
someone stepped down the other day. The spin doctor guy.
That's because he was wasn't he affronted by a decision that was made
by his girlfriend, apparently.
Fighting, yeah. But
which I didn't understand.
A couple of decades ago, or a decade ago, Cummins would have stepped down. Maybe not the man, but the position. If you had gone out against the government guidance and you were, lambasted for it, you would step down. And that would have been expected. It was expected at the time, and it never happened. That the MSP woman, I can't remember her name.
Yeah,
same thing.
It's not unique. It's not even unique to this country. Look at Gavin Newsom last week. Having the meal, the $400 a head meal with the lobbyists and people from the medical industry, and all social distancing. Nomads.
Blackface. It's not just COVID. It's a lot of stuff is not normal of late. Whatever normal was is not the same as what normal is now.
There's no honour. There's no sort of honourable politicians.
Japanese feudal society.
Yeah.
Will they ever, though? Or, like all the stuff you get up to and all the stuff I appreciate at some point wasn't reported and it's not as easy as it is now. I don't think they've ever been squeaky clean.
Some of our previous guests would say that the people with morals and honour, they get weeded out before they get into those positions.
Before they present the pig for you to fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go, I don't know.
The system has a way of filtering out people who have, spine, conviction.
It's probably back to what you were saying about that club with Plato in.
The club?
That club he was in. That band. No, that sort of,
Mystery Legion.
Yeah, that one. Because there's still a thing in it. What is it? Skull and Bones.
Oh, right. Skull and Bones. Secret societies are a real thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Freemasonry.
Was it Cameron when they said about he slept with a pig?
That was the Bullingdon Club.
Yeah. That's definitely a thing. That is definitely a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. It still exists, doesn't it? The Bullingdon Club.
Oh yeah, you all do it. They've all got dirt on you, and then you play ball, don't you?
Yeah.
I would say so. Time on. Fucking hell, we've done nearly an hour and a half.
All right, I'll do.
Oh.
Can't go yet.
Last thing.
What? Go on, Dan.
I'm watching my shitty series that Ben's ruined for me.
When's it start?
I believe the hype.
I'll hype it up. It's really good.
What time's it start?
Well, because it's not a BBC programme, I can watch it when I want.
Oh, that's
Look at it on +1, won't you? What's that thing you used to do on video recorders? Like, you put a code in. We never have one that fancy. Video Plus.
No, what, to record the thing?
Video Plus.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Look, back in when we were young, you used to have to put the time and the date that you wanted to record it. So you would say, I want it to record on Wednesday the 18th of November for an hour between 8 and 9 p.m. and it would record for an hour. And then programming a video recorder was famously complex and everyone was different and you had to read the manual. But then, as Ben said, something came out called Video Plus. And when you opened your newspaper to look what was on TV, after the title of each program would be like a 6-digit code. And then on the Video Plus recorders, you would type in your 6-digit code, and it would record the entire series. It wouldn't require programming. Oh, what?
Exciting.
That's living.
times.
That's living. Video Plus. Right, so we'll finish in a minute. We have to do this though.
Housekeeping.
Oh.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
What do we need, housekeeping wise?
And
iTunes reviews from Dan.
yeah.
What was it, sorry?
iTunes reviews.
I'm pretty sure Dan's got an iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send us a review. An iTunes review.
Yeah, we need iTunes reviews. We need people to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Send us.
Getting hit up by loads of people on YouTube at the moment.
We are, yeah. Major growth.
Loaded.
Yeah, major growth. 20% this week.
Good.
Has anyone slid into your DMs?
You Dr. Martins. What else can you do? How else can you become a producer? You can send us news clips, video clips, news articles. Send us memes for Instagram. Leave us a review. Buy some merch.
Yeah.
Merch.
Yeah, merch.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
so it's quite nice.
Go to the AmishInquisition.com. Oh no, the link isn't there. Scroll down to the episode notes and click on the Amish loot chest, and you can get your hoodies, your t-shirts, put on your fucking muzzle face mask.
Yep. Guaranteed to keep you warm in a cold house with no heating. An Amish Inquisition hoodie.
I'll have two.
How else? What's the best way to become a producer?
Toss us a fucking coin.
Toss a fucking coin.
Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty.
I think you're hitting the point, Phil. That
Toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty.
it really bothers me.
Yeah, go to the website, look for the PayPal button, and you can send us a donation there. And we were discussing earlier that I think what we're going to do for the month of December is any donations we get through the website, we will donate to St. Catherine's Hospice.
Yep.
And I will do an Instagram post tomorrow with all my Christmas lights up and explain how that will work. So, click on the donation button and toss us a coin, and we will forward that coin to a worthy charity.
Yes.
Just for the December.
Donations.
Just for the December. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are we going to match the donations?
No.
Yeah, of course you can, yeah. No problem. You want to match?
Amish Ben can.
Well, this is normally the part of the show where I thank the producers for episode 161, but I've been that busy doing my Christmas lights that I have neglected my responsibility, so I don't have the names of the producers.
You got Raymond Jet Squad.
Got Raymond Jet Squad. I know Full Metal Keto as fuck is on there. Tamborista 2020 is on there. Graham Dunlop from Grimerica is on there. He sent us a video today from the protests in Toronto. So,
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for your support for another week. You're literally the best mates.
Literally. The best mate. They are.
Yeah.
So amazing in their love.
The dwarf, the
Currant.
the
Grape.
the
Cunt.
the
Communist.
The-
Homophobe.
The-
Misogynist.
the cripple and the mother of
Ronnie Pickering.
From hell.
Because I believe I have an issue in this respect.
I have an issue. I have an issue in this respect. We don't get enough donations. So, yeah, that's good. Thanks. We're back next week. We've got Mark Anthony Wyatt coming next week. We're going to be talking about Cornwall, about folklore, mythology.
Right.
And it's a cool name, isn't it?
Did you just say folklore? As in Tales of Cutlery?
Fork. No, where it came from. Law of the fork.
Folklore.
Yeah. So, I don't know if we have anything to add. Is it time to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
School night.
Crush your enemy. I'm going to crush my enemies. I'm going to crush my enemies.
Gonna crush an enemy. Last Dan again.
Right. We'll sign off.
Yep.
Okay.
Nice to see you again, Dan. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks.
Dan.
You're going to ask Dan to stay on the line, or are you going to sack him off?
It's up to him.
All right, okay.
Crush your enemy. See them driven before you, and hear the lamentations of the women.
It also holds co-polluters accountable.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort of pressure.
I imagine the carrot is my penis.
They are. Yeah. So.
The dwarf, the
currant,
the
grape,
the
homophobe, the misogynist,
the
corn pop, guns,
the blind man, the cripple, and the mother of
Johnny Pickering!
From hell. Bring it on.